And I have to mention something about Betty Botter buying a bit of better. And that the quantum relativity between an atom and an electron.
All right, what is up, everybody? This is episode 2, I believe, of the Just Life podcast. I have the homie here, Vaughn Wilmer. He is back. I mean, we have a few episodes in the archive, but...
We do, yeah. Deep archives. Lost archives.
Lost archives.
The Library of Alexandria.
Exactly.
Gone, burned.
Gone forever.
Terrible.
We will never see him again. But today, we're going to be bringing him in. We're going to be having a great conversation. And, yeah, episode 2, here we go. So, Vaughn Wilmer, how have you been?
No promises. This conversation will be great.
Honestly, though, I mean, we'll just see how it goes.
We could just burn it like the other ones. Just bury the bodies in the backyard.
Exactly.
Don't tell the kids what the little bumps in the backyard are. That's just like, those were always there. Life has been awesome. And sometimes it's like, bro, what is going on? Like, you can have these small stresses and they stack up like those little ants, and like then the ant colony's eating you up, and you're like, bro, I sprayed ant spray. I did everything right. Why are these ants eating me alive? And you just didn't deal with it fast enough.
I see.
But
you let it fester.
You can let it fester sometimes.
I see.
And you don't want to deal with red ants all up in your shiz-whiz. You ever watch Ants in My Pants, Phineas and Ferb style?
Phineas and Ferb style?
Oh, that was Squirrel in My Pants. There's a squirrel in my pants. Never remember that?
I don't remember that. Unfortunately, I do not remember that.
You're a SpongeBob kid.
I was a SpongeBob kid.
You're a SpongeBob kid.
Funny story. So this is really funny because I found the picture of the day that this happened. So I was about 2, 3. So it was before 5 for sure. And so my sister was just born. And I remember I went with my dad to the movie theater. It was the one in town. And so we're walking out and there's a SpongeBob arcade game. Oh, no. And I was like, dude, this is sick. Like, I need to play this. And so I'm hanging out there, and my dad, we didn't have like change to be able to play for it. And so my dad's like, we got to leave. And I was like, no, I was pissed. Like, I needed to play this game. And so I start throwing a fit. I'm like 3, I'm screaming. And so he has to pick me up and carry me. And I'm like, no, leave me. So to the scene, it looks like he stole me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it looked like I got kidnapped.
Oh, buddy.
And so we drive all the way home. And then all of a sudden, 5 minutes after we get home, there's a knock on the door. And it's a police officer. Oh, buddy. And so I remember, I was like 3. I remember peeking around the corner and being like, oh shit, the boys in blue.
No.
And then my mom and my dad made me come up and like talk to the officer and like explain what happened. And I remember being like, I wanted to play the game. You wouldn't let me. And I got mad. And he's like, are these your parents? I was like, yeah, this is my dad. He's like, okay. And he just left.
Been like, and I hate him.
I hate him. He didn't let me play the game.
SpongeBob.
So yeah, that's my SpongeBob story.
No, I never had an emotional attachment to cartoon characters like that.
Really?
No, I'm not.
I mean,
they're just fictional.
I mean, I didn't have emotional
spaces.
attachment to them other than the emotion I shared during the experience of watching it.
Well, that was
like
a
nostalgia,
sentence full if I've ever heard one.
Like nostalgia.
Yeah.
And then like watching Adventure Time, that shit hits me in the feels.
Okay, true, but watching Adventure Time now hits me in the feels.
That's
when
what
that song comes on, come along. Don't get copyright strike.
No, but I know what you're saying. Like now, especially when I watch it, but even when I'm watching it now, it's reminiscing on the times when I would watch it as a kid and I saw this episode. I'm like, oh, this is what it really means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of comes
but
full
as
circle.
a kid, bro, why do kids do this? My brother does this with food, where he goes, I don't want to eat it. I don't even want to touch it. That's what I did with Adventure Time when I was a little kid. I'd go, I don't like it.
I just don't want to.
Never watched it.
Never watched it.
I just knew, because do you remember this commercial on I was going to call it CNN on Cartoon Network, on that liberal Cartoon Network, where it would be like, they'd say fun over and over again, and it was Adventure Time. It'd be like, fun, and that, I think, scared me off from Adventure Time.
Fun. Oh, just because they just picked like a redundant
commercial. And so I was just like, I don't like it. And now I'm watching, I'm like, dude, I would have loved this as a kid.
Right? It's
that was
so fucking fun.
Me. That's like me at a regular show when I was like a little kid. But when I was a little kid, I wasn't a regular show. I tried watching it. I wasn't a fan of it. Now I'm like, dude, regular show's fun.
Dude, it's fucking superb.
But no.
I mean, I loved it as a kid. It was very, very, it was funny as a kid, especially because I could watch it with my dad and he would enjoy it as well.
Right.
So it was honestly a lot of fun. But watching it now, like just older.
Right.
It's genius. It makes me want to make an animated show like that,
dude,
and just write like bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
I totally get it. It's just like I've had those urges to be like, I want to make something, and then I draw one frame of it, and I'm like, I'm done. That was too much work. That like the amount of effort that it takes even to make a simple cartoon.
Oh yeah,
is way beyond one person.
Well, that's why I think you have to find the right partnerships. Like if you look at Duncan Trussell, say. I mean, he's not an animator, but he partnered with Pendleton Ward, who made Adventure Time.
Right.
So I mean,
hey, that was.
But then you got to find an animator. That's a whole different story.
Right. And is my creative storytelling like that? Like, is that awesome that I would even want to pay an animator to do? You know what I mean? Then it's like a whole thing. You got a whole business going on. I'm not Breaking Bad of storytelling. Like I don't think
that's why sketches are really the way to go, because you're just doing it on your own. You're making your. It's like a demo for a song. You're just not really kind of paying for anything.
Get it out.
Right.
It's like having this paper baby just pushed out of your hand every once in a while. Kind of a disturbing thought. Now
it really is.
Where your hand's like, oh no, that's not
paper
really
baby.
Not what you want. I guess it's more of a graphite baby, if any baby.
I guess so.
Paper is just like the medium. I was gonna say the paper is like the placenta, but that's not what I want to say.
It really, I don't know if it is.
Say what you wanna say.
What are some other cartoon shows?
Oh, cartoons? Like, Pokemon.
Kids Next Door. Pokemon was really good.
Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh is sick.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
I always wanted like the arm. Like the arm,
totally.
Like deck
Bakugan, bro.
Bakugan.
The first season, the main bad guy, he has the thing that you put the Bakugan in.
Isn't it Zeo?
No, that's Beyblade. Oh, this is Bakugan.
You're so right. I was thinking Beyblade.
You were totally thinking of Beyblade, which is cool because I was gonna say Beyblade, but then I thought of the thing and I wanted the Beyblade arm because its sword came out and they had a sword fight in Bakugan. I'm like, bro, what is this?
I totally forgot about it. I remember I had a Bakugan like PS2 game. Maybe
they
Xbox.
Always sucked.
It was pretty cool when I remember it. It was very like huge, but I don't even remember like the gameplay really.
But it's just like we had a fighting game that was Bakugan, but like
a fighting game.
Like you play as the Bakugan and you like throw
like
haymakers
Street Fighter,
at each other.
But it's just
3D.
Bakugan
no, it's
characters.
Like it was weird. It was actually pretty fun. It was pretty fun. But would I play it again? No. What was Whoa, I lost it all. It's all flying. There's trains everywhere. Oh, they just hit each other. Big explosion.
You guys know what that means. So we have this little jar right here, and it has a bunch of prompts, topics to speak about. So I'm just going to reach in and grab one. And so whenever we lose our train of thought or we don't really know what we're talking about,
we just pull from the candle.
Pull from here and we
if
go
you
off
can't
of
read it, I'd be not surprised.
A good book / movie. I'll go first.
Absolutely.
Okay, so good book / movie. What's something new that I've watched recently or read?
Right.
Well, I'm reading Marcus Aurelius. His book Meditations, which is pretty cool. Absolute nerd alert. It's pretty cool.
Nerd. But it's cool to be a nerd.
It's enjoyable to be a nerd.
It's true. That's more important than being cool is enjoying life.
It's pretty interesting. It's pretty complex to elaborate on. A good movie that I've seen as of recently. Dude, I don't even really watch movies. I mean, I love cinema, but I don't actively consume them anymore. It takes a lot of time.
Right. So, it does take a lot of time. And unless you're going to go Gen Z mode and just put it on 2x speed.
Right, and just speed watch.
Exactly. It takes a lot of time.
It really does.
Good movies. Dude, literally the only media I consume is YouTube, music, and shows and movies with my girlfriend. Like, that's it.
I see.
Like, we get on FaceTime and we both watch the same movie at the same time. And I don't remember ever... Maybe I just don't remember a lot of... I remember, like, we watched Gossip Girl and Gilmore Girls, and we watched all these things, but, like, none of it was, like, you need to watch this. There's totally something we watched together.
Right, like some good...
That was totally amazing, and it's blanking on me now, because there's cameras, and I'm scared.
What I've watched as of recently is I've been going back and watching all the Star Wars movies. I fucking love Star Wars. But they were always sick as a kid, and then now that I'm going and rewatching them as, like, a cinema nerd, it's even better. The original 3 are... classic fun. But I was rewatching episode 1 through 3, and I don't know. It was a blissful experience, especially when like I have a fun time nerding out in like a random universe.
Right.
So right now it's Star Wars.
Okay.
Have you ever watched Star Wars movies?
I did. Did you think Jar Jar Binks ruined the prequels?
the prequels.
Battery pack.
No, I don't. Oh no. Who's that? That's me?
That's you.
No way. We're already out.
You got technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties already going. So we're gonna put it on this, and we're gonna have
for that. Just the Vaughn
talk. The Vaughn.
Jar Jar Binks.
Talk about Jar Jar Binks. You go to the backpack in the
technical difficulties. Camera 1 died, and of course Gavin made himself camera 1 because I'm the guest. I get camera 2. Anyways, continue. Jar Jar Binks prequels.
I don't think he really ruined it. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't think he did either.
I think it was an all right. He's really only a main character in the first one. He shows up a few times in the other ones as like a political figure.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, I think he was definitely kind of annoying at some points. My father made a great point. He was like, "Yo, if he was smaller and like a little cuter, I think."
Like shorter?
Yeah, like just smaller.
Like if he was a smaller
like just
fella.
funnier because he's like
right, not a smart fella.
Yeah, it would have been
Mella. Something like that.
But yeah, he might have been more enjoyable. But I don't think he was that bad. I think he was fun, new character.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
I'm looking at the camera. There's a 90% chance this all gets cut out. You'll never see this, or you will, and now you're gonna think I'm crazy. It's up to you now.
They might see it.
It's gonna be future Gavin being like, do I show him that my friend's insane, or do I keep it in?
Ooh, cracking my neck.
It's hard when you're dealing. That's a great topic. Dealing with technology. I'll take this from here. So when you're dealing with technology, that's that one. That one's on me. Oh man. All right. When you're dealing with technology, here's the things that can happen. Right? Is things should be working. They should work fine, right? You're doing all the math and you're like, oh, this should work. And then you plug it in and it just doesn't work. So then you have to make sure that the microphone works. You have to make sure that the wire works. Then you're like, okay, so both of these things work. So then what do I have to do next? So it's this whole laundry list of problem solving. Why? Because we don't have artificial AI that can talk to you yet. Could imagine that. You say, hey, microphone, why aren't you working? It goes, I'm not working because, and then it tells you the problem. Hello? Life is fixed. There's no famine. Okay, there's probably still famine in the world. But, I mean, it would be just a better system. Okay, but again, it also wouldn't be. But, like, hey, Gavin, does your dad work for IT? Yeah. Okay, so I can't say something about that we would be better without IT people. But he's not a tech support call people IT. He's an in-house IT, right? Which is different than, like, hello, you pick up the phone and then they're like, okay, did you try turning it off and on again? And you're like, bruh, I've murdered people over this.
I've murdered.
All right, so you're back. So that means I can stop my rant.
Focus?
I think, yeah, you look beautiful.
Okay.
Sharp as a gazelle. Is a gazelle sharp? Is that an animal? A gazette? A gazelle? A cassette.
All right, ready? We're snapping back in. So.
He just cut me out of existence right now. He snapped all of that.
I snapped everything.
It's my turn to pull. It's my turn.
It's his turn to pull.
My turn.
It's his turn to pull.
I get the goodie bag. What am I going to get? I'm going to get finding new hobbies. Okay, I'll start. Okay, so
let's hear it.
When you're a little kid, you're told like, oh, you're going to do piano, oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, right? And for a lot of people, that feels like it sets their life, right? Where it's like, I started this when I was a little kid and I'm still doing it. This is what I have to do.
I see.
So when you're 18 and you realize, oh, I've been playing video games for my entire life.
Yes.
I have very little skills outside of verbal communication, maybe, right?
Right.
And gaming, but now I have carpal tunnel, so I can't even game.
Right, it's like,
right?
Fuck.
So then you have to find new hobbies. And the problem with that is you have to find a crowd who's also just starting to learn new hobbies and who have a positive mindset about learning new hobbies.
Oh, yes.
When you're a little kid, you're usually fine with messing up because you're just having fun, right? You're just like, this, right? Mm-hmm. For chess, for example, they just spout out words. They go,
right.
try this. They don't care. But when you grow older, you're like, oh, I think this is wrong, but, right? You have that cautious mindset about it.
Right.
So it's really hard to, let's say, learn how to draw because drawing is so difficult.
It is.
So when you have a medium that's difficult, like filmmaking, it's so hard to just get into filmmaking at an old age.
It's very complex.
How do you pick up a new skill and feel confident in pursuing it when you're not a little kid anymore, when you have stuff going on, when you have finals coming up, when you have school? How do you get a new thing and you're like, this is what I want to apply myself into?
I see. So I guess at least for me, I've been blessed with being in a community that is very open and kind when it comes to stuff like that. For example, music and filmmaking. I mean, I've grown up in a house that's done a lot of music, so that's been like very easy for me.
Okay.
But even finding people outside that just kind of share the passion makes it a lot easier, because when you're able to like nerd out with another person, you feel, I guess what you're describing, like not accepted, but you're able to flourish in whatever hobby you're trying to join. And then to like learn it progressively. I mean, dude, YouTube is the biggest thing for me, because you can just go on YouTube and find a million different people that all enjoy the same thing that you enjoy, and then you can learn as much as possible. And that's mainly how I've done, like, learning filmmaking, at least. It's just going on YouTube and
right.
finding cool stuff. But I mean, when you got a bunch of stuff going on,
right,
you don't have a lot of time.
You're in a lucky position,
very much so,
where you don't have, I mean, you have work, mm-hmm. you hit the gym, you do these things, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, their life from their perspective is elementary school, middle school, high school, college, right. job.
Right.
And once you have that full-time job, where that becomes your life, let's mm-hmm. say, where you're working these long weeks, and then they turn into months and turn into years out of nowhere, right? It's so difficult to pick up a new thing then, right?
Right.
Where, like, I can imagine my mom, she's been writing for a while, right? So it's not like a new thing, right?
Yeah.
My dad played video games when I was a little kid, right? That's not a new thing. He's a computer programmer. He can do whatever he wants with computers, right? But, like, I don't know. I couldn't imagine them just like, oh, we learned the tuba, you know?
Right, just doing something brand new.
Right. It just doesn't, I don't know. I feel like that's what a lot of people have, this dogmatic thinking where it's like, as soon as this happens, this is just my life, right?
I see what you're saying. So I think that has a lot to do with, so I was listening to an Andrew Huberman podcast the other day, and it was on psilocybin, but one of the topics that they went over was neuroplasticity. And so neuro being your brain and neurons,
right.
and your intelligence, I don't know, your ability to memorize things, and then also plasticity, its ability to grow, stretch, and repair itself. And the normal progress of a human being is survival mode. So you're in a very plastic mode as a child. That's why kids can learn things very quickly and efficiently. And like you said, and you learn things from your parents. So in the same exact fashion as you gave an example in, you are a kid, and then all of a sudden you're just put into this thing that you're going to learn. And that's what solidifies as you grow up and lose your plasticity. Because the older you get, the harder it is to learn things, and you become more sedentary in your ways.
Right.
And so I think part of it can be understanding that factor and learning the fact that, like, you can change your plasticity. It just depends on what you're doing and how you're challenging yourself. But taking it to, like, when you learn, like, almost like social norms, and it's like, I'm going to be working this job because I've put so much time and energy into it. It'd be very hard to, like, just designate time away from either that or another priority in life. I don't know. It's very difficult because it's very hard to change, because I don't know.
Right.
Humans don't like change. It's
don't
very
like change.
Spooky. Very, very spooky.
We are spookaholics in the opposite sense. What's the opposite of being an alcoholic? Being a sober. So we're spookah-sobers. Spooky sober? Soberly spooky? Spookily sober. I like spookily sober. That's why I could tell my mom it's not true.
Spookily sober.
Yeah. No, I guess what the main thing was with finding new hobbies, I guess the big problem I have is I have a fear of commitment. I get it from my mom. Okay?
I see.
When you get a new hobby, I guess I get a spur of energy, right? I get 2 weeks of brr, 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 and then I just peter out, you know? And I think, I don't know, it's very hard to find something that I genuinely love enough to continuously do, right? Where it's just like, these all seem like side activities to something that I should really be doing, but I don't know what I really should be doing.
I see.
And that's like the trickiest problem of all. It's like, what do I want to be doing? Like,
right.
like teaching, most fun I've ever had. Yeah. When I was at college and I got to teach these little kids, that was so much fun. I got to be up there, especially when I have my own classroom. I can be as goofy as I want, not being graded with a clipboard in the back, and she's giving me the look, and you're like, please stop, right? But other than, I mean, is my job really going to be my entire life? Like, summers off, I'm going to be traveling, but what am I going to be doing? What am I doing?
No, I know what you're saying.
That's a hard thing. You found it. You got music. You got video. You got stuff going on. You got this whole... Sure, it's all fake. No, it's not all fake. It's all, you got this whole thing going on. And for some people, it's like, bro, I'm 18. I'm just going to college because that's what I'm told to do. Like, I don't even have a real hobby. I have things that I feel like I should be doing.
Right.
But aren't like the love of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you find new hobbies?
Interesting. No, I definitely agree with you. Diving into finding new hobbies, I never, like you said, I never did really anything as well. I just played video games. Not that that's nothing, but that's all we really did was play video games.
You learned about anger.
There's a lot that you learn from video games.
A lot about anger.
Personal communication skills, time management.
That's all true.
Responsibility. There's a lot that you can learn from video games. But when that's everything you do, you can't take that really very many places. So it was difficult for me in a way, because the thing for me was the music. When I found it, it's always been around. My entire family's been into music. My dad loved filmmaking. We always watch movies. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's something that I've always known that I've enjoyed. To me, it felt like, what was success by the standards of the people that I put my worth in, I guess. So people like my parents and people like my family and my friends around me, what would they think if I didn't have the answer? Oh, what do you do when you graduate? Oh, like, I got this plan. You know what I mean? Right. So it was very hard to do that. You're right, man. It's difficult to try to break away from, I guess, the system.
Right.
Of what everything's, everybody's directed to do a certain thing, and that's, like you said, go to college, find a job, pay well, start a family, and I don't know, it's not it for everybody. And so I don't know, man. I wish people had a lot more time during their teens and then into young adulthood and weren't motivated to instantly make a decision about your life and where you're going to go and what you're going to do. Yeah. Exploration is huge. Absolutely. I guess that's the way, is exploration.
Right. And what you said about putting success into people who love you, that's good stuff right there. Because my mom, she was just like, what's your plan? I don't care what you do. What's your plan? Is it a solid plan? That's all she cared about. So,
I see.
I mean, I was like, oh, go to college, be a teacher. That's fine. That sounds like fun. Why not? But, because I don't know what else. Of course, and at high school, everyone's like, oh, you're a funny guy. Do stand-up comedy. Right?
Be a comedian.
Okay, I'll type in my essays. My dream job is being a comedian. Right? And it's like, let's say that is your dream job. Mm-hmm. Okay. Your job is to continuously write things to make people laugh. That's your entire job. And it's that's... I'm not saying that there's a pressure to me to be a certain way, but when your job, if you're a teacher and someone's like, oh, could you help me with this? And you do a terrible job of explaining it, they're going to be like, oh, you're a bad teacher, Mm-hmm. If your job is to be a comedian and someone's they give you a great setup and you just flump it, they're going to look at you and be like, bro, you're terrible, right? And it's just also fame, probably not for me. That's probably not what I want.
I see what you're saying.
I mean, small time fame. Still, I don't want people having a classroom full of kids where you're like, oh, this is
right.
You mess with them. You call them little buddy. Hey, little buddy. How you doing, little buddy? You mess with them.
Yeah,
that sounds like fun. But fame, yeah,
fame is a whole different.
So when your my two options were in my mind. Obviously, there's more than two options for everybody. Mm-hmm. Where comedian or teacher, it's like, okay, I could join comedy club, but I'm or drama. Do I want to be around people in drama? Right. There's a couple cool ones, and then there's the rest of them. And I still hung around drama kids in high school.
Right, yeah.
Senior year, I was around drama kids a lot. Mm-hmm. But
solid.
I don't know. I was doing tennis. I don't want to play tennis professionally. Oh my goodness. Right. Playing a sport professionally.
Oh, that's
terrible.
That's so different.
Terrible. Yeah. I mean, okay, talk about your gym routine and then imagine that times 10, right, and then you have to practice the sport as well.
Right. And then your performance is what people take.
Exactly.
Right? Like, yeah,
how many times have you watched a football game and your dad goes, "How much are you getting paid?
Exactly.
10 million, right? And you drop that?" It's right? Like, bro, like that's
like your grandma dies and you're having the worst day of your life, and it's like, nope.
You have to play football
together, bro.
You're playing football,
red, white, and blue.
Yeah, and hopefully, well, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, sports isn't where it's at, and I don't know. Sports are a huge hobby thing for a lot of people, and I detest them now. I hate them. Because I'm like, bro, I'm going to be throwing a Frisbee at you for how long? I'm going to be hitting a ball with a stick for how long? Like, yeah, you learn stuff from sports. It's totally like video games.
Right, yeah.
And you stay in shape. That's fine. But again, for me, it's like, there's no way I'm going to love this sport enough to, like, stay motivated other than working out. And I just much rather prefer to work out. Because it's just me.
Exactly, right.
You get to do what you want to do.
There's no other factors.
Yeah, there's no teammates dogging on you. There's no other team who's hassling you. It's you versus you.
Right, exactly.
It's you versus those weights, and you're gonna pump that iron, and you're gonna get swole, right?
Exactly.
So working out, great hobby, but like again, if working out's your only thing, I'm gonna diss this guy, Kyle. All right, here comes some drama.